Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The Warriors are in a panic situation, many doubts have arisen. Keep your youth for the future and hope they develop into new stars, or trade the youth for a new star? If they keep young people, there is a risk of losing star Stephen Curry, who loves the Warriors, but wants to be champion, and he could ask for a trade at any time to be champion elsewhere. Nobody expected Klay Thompson to leave, and it happened, and so nothing can be doubted in the NBA. Rumors: Stephen Curry may request a trade and Warriors bring Jalen Brunson. The New York Knicks are currently sitting near the top of the East with a 26-15 record and possession of the conference's number 3 seed. Unfortunately, the team has begun to slip after an impressive stretch of games from their two superstar options, Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. Both have been spectacular this season, but the latter has offered several magical performances in defeat over the course of their last 3 contests. Brunson is averaging 34 points for New York in that stretch, with the team losing 2 of those 3 games in the process. While it's certainly not a negative that Brunson has become one of the best point guards in the league today, it may be worth mentioning that their front office could look to swing for the fences and acquire one of the greatest point guards in the history of the sport. Specifically, the team could target Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors due to his potential ability to mesh well within New York's offense alongside the sharpshooting Towns. New York has plenty to thank Brunson for, as he's mostly responsible for making Knicks basketball relevant again. Unfortunately, the NBA world saw just how cruel the Knicks can be while conducting business when they shipped forward Julius Randle and guard Dante DiVincenzo to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Towns prior to the beginning of the season. In a similar situation, the Knicks front office could shop Brunson in an effort to land the greatest three-point shooter in history and an NBA Finals MVP from just 3 seasons ago in Curry. Due to Golden State's disappointing 19-20 record this season, paired with their reported lack of willingness to trade for a star to help Curry in the present, it's more likely than ever that he could ultimately request a change of scenery to fight for a 5th championship. At 36 years old, the 2-time league MVP's mindset is strictly focused on winning, but it seems as though the organization that he's stuck with for 16 seasons wants to go a different direction. The all-time great scorer is currently averaging 22.7 points and 6.1 assists, while shooting 41% on 10.6 attempts from three-point range. Next to Towns, potentially the league's most dominant three-point shooting center, their ability to play off of each other could make the duo one of the deadliest offensive pairings in league history. For Golden State, acquiring the 28-year-old Brunson would give the team another All-NBA scoring point guard that more aligns with the team's current timeline. In order for a trade to be completed, New York would have to play around with certain pieces like Jericho Sims, Mitchell Robinson, Miles McBride, and others for financial reasons, along with providing Golden State future first-round draft capital. Steve Kerr reveals Warriors' worries as Steph Curry trade rumors grow. The Golden State Warriors are 19-20 on the season and on the outside of the playoff picture. They are 1-4 in their last 5 games and a lowly 7-13 in their last 20. With concerns surrounding their inability to win even with Stephen Curry on the roster, there are some rumblings that the team might trade their best player in franchise history. This season, Curry is still elite, averaging 22.7 points and 6.1 assists on 41% shooting from three-point range. The Warriors have been linked to several trade candidates to bolster their lineup, but trading Curry and committing to a rebuild doesn't sound as insane as it once would have. Curry's run of dominance started slightly before Steve Kerr took over as head coach in 2014, but the coach and player have been inseparable ever since winning their first title in 2015. Kerr recently spoke about the trade rumors, and when asked if the Warriors think Curry would ask out, he didn't hesitate. "I don't think so, I just think Steph loves the Warriors. He loves the idea of being a Warrior for life. I think that's so meaningful for him. That's what makes him unique and different. It's why he's not asking the organization to trade everything to go get him help. Steve Kerr. Even as Kerr, Curry, and Draymond Green tell fans that they want the roster to stay intact as is, fans can't help but worry that the trio will break up. Klay Thompson left in free agency for the Dallas Mavericks this summer, so why wouldn't Curry be next, especially if the Warriors can't compete? I don't think our fans have to ever worry about that. It's just a question of, man, can we help him? What can we do? This guy is one of the greatest artists of all time. He's just an incredible performer, and we're all lucky to watch him play. Kerr went on to say that the Warriors are confident that they can compete for a playoff spot as long as Curry is playing at a high level, although he admitted that at this point, the Stars could use some help and so far the front office hasn't found any. The Warriors have been linked to Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, Jonas Valanciunas, and other high-level players, although the most realistic massive trade the Dubs could make it tearing it all down and starting from scratch. For now, it seems like Kerr is avoiding dealing with that reality. Warriors must trade Steph Curry if not willing to mortgage future. It may be time for the Golden State Warriors to rebuild. If the Golden State Warriors aren't willing to mortgage the future to make a win-now move, it may be time to trade Steph Curry. After a strong first month of the season, it's almost as if reality has begun to set in for the struggling Golden State Warriors. As we approach the midway point of the season, the Warriors are 19-20 and are sitting outside the top 10 in the Western Conference standings. If the season ended today, the Warriors would not even qualify for the play-in tournament. Overall, this year would be viewed as an astounding disappointment for the team. For a team that is trying to win one more championship with Steph Curry, the Warriors missing the playoffs entirely is almost unforgivable. That's why, heading into the NBA trade deadline, you'd imagine that Golden State would be willing to make a strong win-now move. Interestingly enough, that may not be entirely the case. According to a recent report, the core of the franchise doesn't believe that the team should mortgage the future with a win-now move. That's completely an understandable stance for the franchise, but if they're not willing to make a win-now move, then perhaps it's time for the Warriors to make another one. If Golden State is not willing to mortgage the future to surrounding Curry with a winning roster, maybe it's time for the team to trade Steph. If the Warriors aren't willing to take the gamble that it would take to keep this championship window open, it makes little sense to keep Curry on the roster. How will Steph Curry push the narrative forward? Curry doesn't seem like the player who is ever going to demand a trade away from the franchise, but if the Warriors continue to be hesitant to make a big move via trade, there's a big conversation that's going to have to take place. Curry must figure out whether he's willing to play the final few years of his career as a non-contender or if he's going to push for the Warriors to be more aggressive. If Golden State is unwilling to be more aggressive via trade, it's unimaginable how this team is going to be able to emerge as a championship contender in the foreseeable future. That means that the next championship window that may open for the Warriors is probably going to be when Curry has long retired. It's admittedly a difficult situation all around. The Warriors want to keep their flexibility open, and Curry probably would much rather play for a contender. Is there a middle ground of any kind for the two sides? I'm sure that's the hope. However, if the Warriors are sold on not mortgaging the future, we may have arrived at the point where they might be better off trading Curry.